Hello and welcome to our TYFU Hub Chat, all about Headspace's work and study program. I'm Leah from TYFU, and today we will be talking to the awesome Lukas Smith and Roxanne Kitts from Headspace Work and Study about the fantastic program designed to support young people aged 15 to 25 with finding and maintaining employment or returning to education. The initiative offers tailored one-on-one support to help young people achieve their goals, whether that's crafting resumes, preparing for interviews, exploring career options, or overcoming personal challenges related to work or study. With a focus on mental health and well-being, Headspace Work and Study empowers young people to thrive, both professionally and personally. If you have a question for Lukas or Roxy, please just pop it into the chat. Lukas and Roxy, big thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Of course. To start, can you just tell us a little bit about Headspace's Work and Study program and how it helps young job seekers?
Yeah, sure. So the Work and Study program is an employment and education service that supports young people between 14 and 25 with their vocational and educational goals. It's currently spread out throughout 50 centres nationwide throughout the Headspace centres. But we're like it here in Ashfield, so we kind of look at the inner west area with any young people within this area. But essentially, we work off a model called the IPS model. It's an evidence-based research model that sort of guides us on how to support young people with their educational and vocational journeys while also supporting them with their mental health. It's a program that was brought in by the Department of Social Services, and it's a model that we've been implemented ever since we started in 2021. So yeah, we just provide that ongoing, individualised vocational and educational support while supporting them with their mental health as well.
Yeah, it's such an awesome initiative. Can you tell us a little bit more about what kind of support somebody can expect if they sign up to the program?
Yeah, being at Headspace, we understand that every young person has a unique journey. And so we sort of contextualise our service based on their path, but also on their preference as well. We do provide a one-on-one sincere service, and our appointments are one-on-one, but it's also based in the community as well. So research shows that young people kind of engage with vocational specialists while being in an area they're comfortable with, but nonetheless, they might have areas they want to be talking a confidential area, so we can offer rooms here at Headspace as well. So yeah,
the sort of support that they can expect. So they'll have a first appointment where we do a little bit of a profile. We kind of understand where they're coming from and what their goals are, and what skills gaps they have, so we can help fill in those skills gaps. So if somebody feels like they'll be really good in interviews, but they've never done a cover letter before, we'll sit down and work through that with them. And so those are the first two appointments. We also talk a little bit about if they need any help with finance, if they need any help with Centrelink, and if they need any help with figuring out how to disclose mental health to an employer, if that's something that they're interested in doing. Just providing a little bit of education around their rights when it does come to making a disclosure around mental health in the workplace, because it can really help reduce stigma, make you feel more comfortable in the workplace. But there are legal protections in place to make sure that you're not going to get discriminated against. So that's what we're trying to educate on.
So fantastic. And I love that it is so personalized. It's yeah, amazing that it's out there and free for people. What do you think are the biggest challenges that young people face when looking for work these days? And how can you guys help with those issues?
Yeah, so many challenges for young people. I feel like there are a lot of barriers, especially when it comes to experience and education that they might encounter when they're doing a job search. So, you know, clicking through all the different Seek ads, oh, this requires 5 years experience, this requires 8 years experience. Why does it say it's entry level? So it's very relatable. But then there are also all sorts of other things like the feeling that you're competing with people who have more experience than you, not really knowing what experiences or transferable skills you can put on your resume to leverage that, and just things like how do you find the time to put in this extra experience? Do you do volunteering? Do you do this, that, the other? And how do you manage that when cost of living is kind of rising? So they're all.
I think the public side will be also a factor as well, because they're competing against older people that may have more experience. Especially if a young person just finished uni, doesn't mean that they will be selected, because it's a balance of experience and qualification as well. So it's something we face, but also location. Some of the jobs are really far away, and the means of transport might not be accessible for young people. So sometimes the opportunity is not close enough within their sort of area they live in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Any tips that you have for young people to improve their chances of landing a job? A tricky question.
It's a big question, but it's like there are a lot of good tips. Things like follow-up is one of the things that I've found that nobody really tells young people how they're supposed to do it. And then they're kind of disadvantaged because there is someone who might have more experience who's so good at following up that the other young person not know how to do. So like follow up in person or over the phone, cover letters and how to leverage cover letters. A lot of people just send out stuff without a cover letter. Figuring out when you commit to doing sort of like quality cover letter too, because a lot of people, there's a balance to hit between quantity and quality when you're handing out job applications. But knowing when to really go the whole 9 yards with your cover letter is really good. Leveraging who you know, learning how to network, and then finding free courses to upskill.
That's a really great one, actually, the free courses, because there are so many fantastic free courses out there. I think, it's just a matter of looking for them. And I wonder if young people know the power of LinkedIn yet. I know they certainly know the power of TikTok, but I think, definitely older people are aware of like how powerful LinkedIn can be, but I'm not sure if young people are utilizing it as much just yet. But any sort of industries or roles that you're seeing young people are really interested in right now?
I think we're fortunate because we get to collect the data. So Headspace has a very thorough way of collecting data, and I get to sort of analyze this data on a quarterly basis to see what the trends are. And it's been very consistent in the retail, hospitality, but there's been a growth in community service. So there's a lot of young people want to go into aged care or youth work or things like that. So it may be because they're receiving youth work services themselves and they want to give back. And that seems to be the conversation that we have, that young people want to give back because what they're going through, they want to sort of be able to make changes in lives and in the next lives that they support. So that's kind of the big ones. But I say the growth, the surprise growth is within the community-based services like aged care, disability care, and youth work.
And I think that's a great way as well to just start building some experience for young people, is to do some sort of community-based work, because then you're getting all these skills for your resume as well. I think that's
exactly.
And can we just talk a little bit about how Headspace can help young people balance like sort of the stress of job searching? We sort of touched on this a little bit, Roxy, with sort of mental health and well-being as well.
Yep. Okay. So Headspace has a lot of resources. So I think that obviously talking to someone about how you're feeling can make a huge impact on how you're going with your mental health. And we've got lots of different ways to do that. So there's obviously coming into a Headspace centre and receiving mental health support. If you can't come into a centre, there's Headspace online. You can create a Headspace account. We've got the work and study program in person, but then we've also got that online work and study program, which provides 3 months of targeted work and study support with a one-on-one. You get a specialist as well, and then you kind of get to do the groundwork that will help you when you go out into the community and start applying for roles. There's also peer-led chats on the Headspace website. So I'll pop a link to the work and study website in the chat as well, so that everybody can have a look. But there's a lot of resources there. And I think that's the main sort of stuff that Headspace can provide. But things to think about. Do you have a reward system in place? Are you always pushing yourself and you don't give yourself time to have a break? Do you have a good self-care methodology in place? How are you at setting goals and targets? and are your targets reasonable, and will you allow yourself a break when you've achieved that target? Those are all really
Absolutely.
And I think just to sort of reiterate, we also make sure that every young person has a clinician on standby, ready to go to talk to them while being part of our program. It's so important to have a sort of a holistic service which provides both needs on the mental health and the vocational needs. So having someone on a clinical side like a psychologist or social worker ready to listen and sort of help them sort of deal with the issues outside that goal of looking for work or a course really helps maintain that balance. And I think that's why we have such great outcomes, because of that additional service that we provide here at Headspace.
It's so holistic. You're really covering everything. So I think that's why it's such an excellent program. Do you have, I think, so it's a bit daunting the first time you're doing sort of an interview or something like that. Do you have like a strategy or a piece of advice that you give young job seekers for managing nerves before an interview or before the first day of, their first job?
Absolutely.
Like for me, like preparation is the key. So I think majority of young people that go into interviews that are not prepared, and understanding sort of what kind of questions, especially on behavioural questions that are usually asked in interviews, kind of is the reason why they trip up. So we do go thoroughly through those interview preparation questions, and we just sort of prepare them, get them prepared mentally, just write down their goals, what they want to achieve at the interview, also preparation as regards what time they want to get there. I know from my conversations, some young people are late, and then that kind of interrupts, or that kind of sort of makes them feel,
nervous.
I guess, they go over the process. So we go through all that kind of stuff, but we just want to check on them, make sure that they feel prepared and they feel confident. We feel confident they can do it as well. So
My top advice for interviews is, if you're nervous, don't be afraid to start the interview and say, I'm a little nervous, because people will instinctively try and reassure you. They're not going to stand there and say, oh, how dare you be nervous in this interview?
Yes.
So, the best outcome you could possibly have from a job interview is if you walk away feeling like you've made a friend, because that's what it's about. It's about connecting with somebody you haven't met before and just showing them that, you'd fit really well with that team. So they wouldn't have brought you forward for an interview if they didn't already see the merit in potentially hiring you. So you already know you have the skills for the job, and you just get to show them that. What Luke was saying about behavioural interview questions, good to have about 5 or 6 examples in your back pocket of times when you've overcome a challenge, times when you've gone above and beyond, and just have those examples ready, because different varieties of behavioural interviews might cycle through those same 5 examples. And then you can just pull them out and say, here you go.
Yep, you've got them. Yeah, absolutely. That's such a good point.
And just on that point, so I can add something else.
Yes.
I think what we get is a lot of young people try and tap into the limited work experiences they have, but don't tap into any volunteering work they may have done as well, or some other sort of aspects. Because being young, doesn't have a big, deep resume, so there's not much to really pick from. So it's about tapping into other aspects. Maybe they've done something at uni that could reflect back on the questions, or back on volunteering as well. So we try and tap into that as well, and they feel more confident that they go, oh, can I use those as an example? Of course, it shows your capability to solve that issue.
So be creative with the examples that you're using, and don't just think about like work experience in the traditional sense.
Exactly.
I'll just see if anybody has some questions. I see we've got one from Jay. If anybody has a question, you can pop it into the chat now. Jay has said, how important is mentorship for young job seekers, and how do I go about finding somebody suitable to guide me through the journey? So I guess they're asking, how they can find a mentor. Great question, Jay.
Yeah, great question. I've had mentors in my life, and they've really guided me, and they've coached me, and they've brought me to a place where I feel very happy and satisfied where I am. If anyone could be a mentor, anyone that's got past experience, will definitely help you. For myself, I actually reach out to LinkedIn. So as part of my strategy, if someone wants to be a graphic designer, or if they want to be a musician, I actually go onto LinkedIn and try and find a person in that profession, and then just reach out to them. And most people do want to give back. It's amazing how people want to share that experience. I think we are all teachers and we're all students at the same time, but we want to give back to people, other people that are on the same journey. So it's about reaching out and just saying, hey, I want to be a musician. Can I just ask you some questions about becoming a musician? And most times people will be obliging to answer your questions.
Yep.
Yep.
There is also the option of Headspace actually has a career mentoring service as well.
Oh, amazing.
So I've just popped the link in the chat for the work and study support. Do you want me to share my screen really briefly, Leah? I can
Yeah, if you can show us, that would be amazing. Yes.
Let me do that. I'm going to share this website here, and then we'll have a little scroll. Let me know if everyone can see that.
Yes, we can see, or I can see.
All right. Sweet. I'm going to assume that everybody else can see it.
So, yeah.
Sweet. So this is Headspace, Headspace's website on the work and study support section. So it outlines the different types of support that we do provide. So there's the link for career mentoring, there's the link for the online support, and then there's the in-person centre support, which is what we provide at Ashfield. There's lots of different online services too, so you can always do a little quiz and find out which service is right for you. You can always refer somebody to the service, give a call to Headspace National, and they can let you know what is available. But then down the bottom here as well, there's something that might be useful, peer group chats, professional-led group chats, and other online resources for you guys. So the peer group chats happen every second Thursday, and they're hosted by peer moderators, and they talk about anything work and study related. Then there's professional-led chats where you get a vocational specialist providing that expertise to help guide a chat, and you submit questions in advance. You ask them during the chat, similar to what's happening here. And then there's a whole library of online resources about how to manage sort of mental health, stress, exams here. So I just clicked on that, and there's
tons of resources.
Lots of different resources.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, that's excellent. Thank you for that. So I will share the link with everybody as well after this. And so the best way for people to get involved, they just sign up from the website. Is that as simple as that?
So the process of joining the program is just coming to Headspace Ashfield.
Okay, so
yeah, just walk through the door, and just talk to our lovely reception. Say you want to be part of the work and study program. They will organise a time for you to see a clinician, and the clinician is just there to see how other things are happening, if they can support you with other things.
Right.
If it's just work study only, they will complete a referral form with the clinician, and then they'll be sent to my team, and then I'll nominate a vocational specialist from there.
Yeah, so that's if you want in-person support. If you do want just online support, you can also link up through the website, and you just follow the buttons there, and you put your name and register your interests and things like that. I reckon that's a good way to start sometimes as well, because you can get all those sort of preliminary skills, the resume refinements, etc., during that 3-month period that they have. And then when you're ready to be out in the community, you want someone to buddy up with you, walk out, meet employers, do that networking and skills building, then the in-person team is really good. So we work well together.
Yeah, great. We do have one more question that's come through in my chat box. It's what is the most common error young job seekers make? It's from
common error.
Any common mistakes that you're seeing, or not so?
I would say not answering your phone. That's probably the most common one, because when you get a call back from an interview, but we're so used to being like, oh, it's a scam, I don't know that number, I'm not going to answer it, sorry. You've got to answer your phone when you've got job interviews out in the thing. So that's what I've noticed when people mess up.
Great.
I concur with that. Yeah, I can understand with a lot of scams and what's happening out there that people are a bit hesitant to answer phones, but I guess when you're applying for jobs, the recruiter's more likely to call you on the phone to hope if we want to be.
Yeah, and it doesn't look good, I guess, if you're not contactable or if it's hard to get hold of you. It's amazing. Thank you for your question, Alex. I don't think we've got any more, but I will share links with everybody after this. Thank you so much, Lucas and Roxy, for all of your tips and for showing us how Headspace works. I think it has been incredibly valuable, and it's such a fantastic resource. So really appreciate it. And anybody who is watching this, remember, you're not alone. There are amazing resources and people to help you, like the team at Headspace Work and Study. So take care, everybody, and yeah,
Yep.
we'll speak soon. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.